Hello and welcome back to Easyweb Tutorials. Today we're going to do something fun and interesting. I have Klaus and Niklas with me as usual, and we'll jump right into it. So we'll go to Easyweb to start managing our site. And today we're going to break off our content in our default page, so the page.cshtml. You can open that file, Niklas, and we can take a look at it. Here, as we can see, we have our default page with the code that we wrote a few videos ago. And now we're going to be breaking up this single file because, as you can see, we have all of our components rendered in the same file, which corresponds to our view. But now we're going to be mapping our components into sections that will correspond to partials instead, that will then render out because we're going to put an EWI template into this file. And then you can see that we can also make smaller components in the code that corresponds to the smaller components in Easyweb. So you don't have to have a view in your code that corresponds to a view in Easyweb. You can also have a view in your code which acts as a partial, which will correspond to a single section or a single component. And now we're going to get started with that. So the first we can do is we can see that we have our label and our description in one div in our code. So we can just put a section around the description. So we'll create a section and then we can just drag it up, and then we can drag up the description to get magnetized into our section here. And we'll name it hero. And if your view of the studio is a little bit different, it might be because you don't have the tree view on, and we really like the tree view. So off it looks like this, and on it looks like this. So we prefer the tree view on, but you can do as you please. Now we have the description in a section which we have called hero. And now Nicholas has created another section here, which will be article or content or something. And then we'll drag all of the other components here into this section. So now our view is built up of two sections, and we can save it. And now we're done in the studio actually. So if we now go back to our page, and we can see our site in the browser. So if we go to our new page here, which is the one that corresponds to the view we're working with, and reload, we can see that we have all of these contents still rendered out. But now we're gonna be creating sections and partials in the code to correspond to these changes we made in the studio. So we can start with the hero, which will do the label and the description. So we'll just be creating into templates. And now this is also up for grabs for how you personally prefer to have it. So we can either put these partials into templates and then the framework will find them in that folder. We can also put the partials into the pages folder, which corresponds to our module. But if we do that, then and use the same components or the same partials for these sections in other modules, the framework won't find them. So we'll put them into the templates folder. And now we'll create our file, and we'll use the best practice of naming partials with underscore and then camel case. So we'll name this file heropage.cshtml with an underscore. And we'll also go into the studio and change our key for this section to hero page. Thanks, Niklas. Now we have our partial here. We can just copy paste the code that rendered out the label and the description into our partial. And we can also put it into a section here. And then we'll format the code. And now we have this code in our partial, and we do not have it in our page.cshtml. So now if we reload our site, our hero here should disappear, which it does. But now we can use EWI template instead here in our page.cshtml. So we can use EWI template for key hero page. And I think you have a dot there, Niklas. Yes, perfect. So now when we reload this page, the template will, or the EW template tag helper will look for our partial and it will find it in the templates folder, and then it will render the code that we have written there. So now we'll do the same for our other section here, which contains the image, the HTML editor, and our list of links. So we'll create a new partial in our templates, and we'll name it underscore article, which I think was the key we used. .cshtml. And we put the key article into our section in the studio as well. So now we'll just be copying this code and pasting it into our article file here. And now when we reload our page, we can see that all of our article content disappears, but then we can do an EW template for key article just below there. And we'll see that the template tag helper will find the article file and render out the code that is there. We reload our page and we can see that we have our content back. And now you notice that we are using two EW templates, which could be pretty unnecessary here. And we also use the for key attribute for both of them, and those are also the only keys we have in our view in the studio. So what we actually can do here is we can remove one of them and then completely remove the for key attribute on the other, and then it will just loop out all of the components that the view holds, and it will look for the corresponding partial files. So very simple, very easy. And if we go into our index.cshtml file here in the Solution Explorer, we can see that this file also has an EW template, and this is a root fallback for rendering views. So if the framework can't find a particular view inside a particular folder, then it will use the index.cshtml view to render out the content. And the index file is only with the tag helper EW template. So what we can do here now is we can quickly create another module and go to Easyweb. So we can quickly create another module. So we'll add a new module. We can have an article module with some name, article module or articles maybe. Yeah, that's perfect. The key will be automatically assigned, and everything here is as it should. So we'll save this module. Now we can open up our articles here, and we can add click the little plus to add a view. And that's the standard view. We click out the create default contents because we don't want them. And then we'll save our view. And now if we go to our articles standard view, you can see that it's empty. And what we can do here is we can actually copy all of the components that we had in our page view and copy them into the articles view, just to show you that now that we've set up these partials in the code, they will automatically be found even in another module. So we copy that section, we paste it in the articles view. Then we can save it. We go back to the page view and copy the other section as well. Paste that one in there. Perfect. And now we can go to the content management part of Easyweb and click the articles module up in the header. We can create an article. And then Niklas will just create some content here in this article. All right, now we have our content created in our new article here, and we can just go to the menu and also add a new menu alternative to be able to reach our article quickly. So we'll create a menu alternative to our new article here. And now, as you know, we've just created a brand new module with a brand new view, and we haven't added any code whatsoever to render out the contents of that view. But what we have done is we're using the same sections with the same keys as our default view. And now we'll see what happens here when we go to our new article. So we'll click on our new article, and we can see that this article is rendered out in the exact same styling and exact same way as our default page, because the framework will find the keys that we're already using in the studio, and it will find these partials that we just created today. And this is also because we don't have a view for the specific uh, standard view that we created in the studio. We haven't added a file for that view, and we haven't added a folder for the module. And since we haven't done that, it will go to the index.docs.cshtml file to render out the content. And in this file, we have an ewe template tag helper that will find our partials. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Easyweb Tutorials.